Good evening, everyone. Hello, Ambassador Erdan, Minister of Energy Kaarin Elhahar, Director General Oudi Adyri, ambassadors and friends, good evening and good afternoon. On behalf of Israel Ministry of Energy and Israel Permanent Mission to the UN, I would like to thank you for joining us today for Israel virtual side event for the Ministerial Thematic Forum High-Level Dialogue on Energy. My name is Yael Barash Harman. I'm the head of technology and renewable energy in the Chief Scientist Office at the Ministry of Energy. And I will be your moderator for the evening. This evening, we will meet a group of Israeli entrepreneurs who develop technology designed to allow access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy for all. Or in other words, a solution for the Sustainable Development Goal number 7. So I'm delighted to invite Ambassador Gilad Erdan, Ambassador of Israel to the United States and the United Nations, to give us his opening remarks. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone. And of course, thank you for joining us today. First, I want to extend a warm welcome to Israel's newly appointed Minister of Energy, Her Excellency Kaarin Elhahar, my friend Kaarin Elhahar. I wish you luck in your important new role. Your participation today is a testament to your personal commitment to this issue. I have known Minister Elhahar and witnessed her incredible capabilities for many years, and I am sure that under her leadership, we will see Israel play an even more important role in the field of energy innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, energy presents the world with unique challenges in the 21st century. On the one hand, as is made clear by SDG 7, there is a need to increase access to energy in order to fuel economies, both developed and underdeveloped, achieve many of the other SDGs, and improve the lives of the global community overall. On the other hand, energy consumption is one of the greatest sources of pollution in the world today. With the devastating effects of climate change felt throughout the world, ensuring energy access will require a responsible and international devotion to our planet. This will be no easy task. Rising to the challenge of meeting energy needs in a sustainable way will only be possible if revolutionary science and innovative technology are a key part of our approach. This reality is what has driven Israel's energy policy in recent years. The Israeli government and Israeli companies have invested greatly in developing new sustainable energy sources. We have made it a national priority to meet our energy needs while at the same time reducing their impact on the environment. As Israel's Minister of Environmental Protection in my past, I worked to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, and we have made great progress in this regard. By 2025, Israel will no longer be burning coal. Israel is also committed to completing our transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy by 2050. I am proud to say that in trying to reach those important goals, Israel has become a global hub for environmental and green technology, as our speakers today demonstrate. One segment of renewable energy that Israel has made particular progress in is solar energy, as everyone knows. For decades now, households in Israel have been using solar thermal systems for heating water, with numbers reaching around 85% and saving around 2 million barrels of oil a year. By 2030, less than a decade from now, solar energy will provide over a third of our electricity, and right now, Israel's Arava desert is almost 100% powered by the sun during daylight hours. Storage, of course, is an essential component in the efforts to increase the use of renewable energy, and Israeli companies through incredible creativity and ingenuity, have found solutions for this challenge, such as storing energy even in ice. However, while extremely important, cultivating new sources of energy is not enough. In order to build a sustainable energy future, we must also re-examine the way in which we consume our energy. Innovation, technology, and data play a key role in increasing energy efficiency. Using apps in the home to monitor energy usage and help consumers become more energy efficient and updating industry production methods are just some examples of the ways these can be utilized. Constructing buildings in compliance with green building standards is another. Starting March 2022, all new buildings in Israel will have to meet the green building standards, utilizing innovation to increase energy efficiency in a meaningful way. Israel understands that in order for such innovation to have a real global impact and help us achieve SDG 7, it must be shared with the world. And that is why we are so glad to be joined by incredible Israeli companies for today's event and to share best practices in the lead up to the high-level dialogue on energy in September. I thank you all for joining us today and look forward to working with you all and collaborating on this important issue in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Erdan. And now I'm excited to invite Israel's new Minister of Energy, Ms. Kaarin Elhahar. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Yael. Ambassador Erdan, thank you for the kind words. Distinguished guests, I'm honored and privileged to open this event as part of the Ministerial Thematic Forum being held under the UN Level Dialogue on Energy. As the Israeli Minister of Energy, I'm fully aware of the fundamental role energy has in our lives, but also significant role it has in a global effort to achieve a clean and reliable low carbon economy in order to overcome the climate change's crisis. In recent years, energy economies have undergone an unprecedented transformation against the background of global trends dealing with climate crisis. Technological advances, digitalization, and decentralization of traditional energy economies. These trends are evident in the Israeli energy economy alongside objectives for economic development, reducing greenhouse gas emission, and assimilating new technologies. In the light of these trends, the energy market in Israel is changing dramatically following the historic decision to terminate the use of coal in our power plants as early as 2025, raising our target for renewable energy to 30% by 2030, and our latest policy to get the reduction of up to 85% of greenhouse emission in the electricity generation process till 2050. The State of Israel set ambition targets for year 2050 with 80% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions and in energy economy, but which constitute almost 100% reduction in emissions in transportation sector and up to 85% emission reduction in the electricity sector. Those targets are very challenging, but we believe in looking forward and making the future a reality today. Only this morning, I have announced the winners of fourth round on the energy efficiency program for the greenhouse emission reduction. In Israel, we put faith in innovation and technologies. Israeli research centers, universities, and startup companies are developing new and innovative technologies. a new solution on a daily basis. This is why I'm so proud to introduce you today these Israeli companies and their breakout technologies. With their help and the help of numerous other innovative companies, researchers and entrepreneurs, we hope to meet the target of reducing emission with the framework of climate agreements in order to reach a cleaner, greener, and safer planet. Thank you very much and have a very pleasant
Thank you very much, Minister Elharrer. Thank you. I'm happy to invite our Director General, Mr. Udi Adiry, to present the Israel policy and strategy.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Minister Elharrer. Good evening, Ambassador Adan. And I'm really delighted to be here this evening with our great audience from all around the world and have the chance to share with you some examples of the really fascinating, vibrant, and exciting scene in our energy sector. What happened the last few years in the startups, innovation in the Israeli energy sector is amazing. And what you will see today is really only the tip of the ice. I want to share with you briefly some of our main goals in energy policy before you will see those examples. So first of all, we do see, of course, today the role of energy and the role of innovation in energy as an important role in one of humanity's greatest challenges, and this fighting climate change. And for that reason, energy, and especially energy innovation, became more and more significant and more interesting. And I think this evening is a testimony for that. So how we design our energy policy in Israel. So first of all, as the minister said, we look at the main world trends. Of course, decarbonization, by far the most important one in the last few years. Digitalization, which creates challenges, but also opportunities. One of the companies that we'll present today deals with that. Also, of course, created cybersecurity intelligence and others. And digitalization of energy, which also one of the companies we presented today is dealing with. And of course, as I said, decarbonization, which at least two of the companies we'll see today, that's their main mission. Then we, of course, look at Israeli more local characteristics, and probably as any other country around the world, also the state of Israel. I understand you cannot see the slides. One second, take care of that, sorry. One second. So of course we have to look at, in a minute we will see that, of course we have to look at the main characteristic of the state of Israel, and we do have some unique things we have to deal with. And just to mention those, so Israel is an electric energy-wise, is an electric island. Of course, that it's not a destiny. We want to change this situation, but this is the reality for now. We have to deal with it. Israel has a very high population density and a scarcity of land. That is something which creates many difficulties in implementing renewables and drive us to find solution to implement renewable energy in a more efficient way, which use much less acreage. We have a lot of sun in Israel, which is of course an advantage, but on the other hand, Israel has almost no other sources of renewable energies such as wind, and we will see today an India company that has really tried to fight this challenge and create energy from the Mediterranean Sea. We have a breaking through innovation, which is all the idea behind this evening. And of course, we have significant gas reservoirs, which we want to monetize and to use at least in the near future. Please. The main parts of our policy, first of all, as the minister said, and also the ambassador, 4 years from now, we're going to phase out use of coal. Straight afterwards, by 2030, we're going to implement 30% of renewables in our electricity fuel mixture. We have a mission to improve and to implement R&D investments in the state of Israel. We want to electrify and to transfer to natural gas all the industry of the state of Israel and replace any other polluting fuels such as heavy oil or diesel. We want to electrify the household in Israel and to use electricity instead of gas. We want to use our natural gas in the meanwhile for export and increase Israel, first of all, to monetize the gas and then to improve a connection, Israel international connection in the region, but also looking forward in creating hydrogen, blue hydrogen in the future, and by that aim to reduce of course the carbon emissions. And we want, as I said before, we want to change the situation in which Israel is an electricity island and to have more connectivity with our neighbors in electricity and natural gas. And of course, one of the main important things, once your electricity is clean and based on renewables and natural gas, you want to move to clean mobility, mainly by implementing electric cars instead of course, other fuels, pollutive fuels. And these are the main things we are working on and we're aiming to achieve, and by these aims to achieve, of course, the targets. Regarding the targets, so we have three main targets. First of all, we want to decrease by 2050 in 80% the overall greenhouse gas emissions in the energy sector by, as we said before, first of all, phasing out the coal. We want to reach a decrease of 1.3% in the energy intensity, using less energy. Of course, the best, the cleanest, the cheapest energy, as we all know, is the one that you not consume. And we want also to decrease the emissions from our electricity sector up to 85%. So we are going to do it step by step. First, of course, as I said before, today, we already decreased in more than 20% the greenhouse emissions compared to what we had in the past. We're going to phasing out use of the coal, then to introduce renewables up to 30% by 2030, to use technology to find solution together with more and more renewables to reach the targets of 2050. And technology is maybe the most important part of the strategy, because without new technology in a country like Israel, and maybe all around the world, the achievement of the goals, the achievement of cutting off the greenhouse emissions will be almost impossible. And this is why you are all today at this great evening. When we talk about innovation, when we talk about policy, we see three main pillars. First of all, of course, the government. The government has to set the goals, has to give the incentives, has sometimes to support, sometimes just to let the market work. The academy need to find long-term solution, and of course, they all need to be implemented business-wise. And of course, the business and the technology implemented in companies, startups, and other initiatives, this is what we're going to see this evening. Our chief scientist will give the concluding remark this evening. Dr. Gideon Friedman is allocating every year with our chief scientist unit dozens of millions of shekels, sometimes dollars, in order to support companies. 3 out of the 4 companies that we'll present you today were supported by our chief scientists in our different tools and different funds and different programs. As you can see, we support pilots and demonstrations. We support the academia, scholarships. We have great connections. The US, every year we allocate $8 million together with the DOE to support companies and academia that collaborate, Israel and US companies and academia, in creating solutions for clean transportation, for renewable energies, for energy storage and others. It was really hard, very difficult to choose 4 companies that will present here this evening. This is the second time we have this kind of event. Last time we chose 4 companies, again 4 others, but it's becoming more and more difficult to choose the companies because there are really so many amazing success stories in the Israeli innovation energy scene. These are just 5 pictures, examples of companies that we will not see this evening because we could not include anyone. But you can see that we have solutions for aviation technologies, of course, electric aircrafts by the company Aviation. We have an advancing solution for managing charging of electricity, NIACs. We have GenCell, we deal with hydrogen and the way to produce locally and store hydrogen, GenCell. We have a great company that finds solutions to remove the public transportation to electricity without batteries, giving all the advantages of electric buses, but without the need to carry batteries. This company is Electrion and Nostromo. They deal with a very strange idea in Israel, is to store energy by using of ice. Again, just more examples. We'll be happy after this great event to share with all of you the list of companies that we are working with, and we think that they provide great solutions. So I will conclude by that. I wish you a great evening, and really I think that we're privileged to be part and of one of the biggest challenges of humanity. Thank you all.
Thank you, Udi. And as you said, we're going to see now only 4 companies which are the tip of the ice. But still, I'm very happy to invite our first speaker, Ms. Ina Braverman, an entrepreneur who, as you will all see shortly, is driven by a strong passion to produce clean energy. Please welcome Ina from EcoWave Power.
Hi, everybody. Very nice to meet you and very nice to be here in the event with the Israeli Energy Ministry. They're great supporters of our way, so we're very glad to present our work here. 1 second, I will share the presentation. So basically, our company, EcoWave Power, developed a unique, innovative technology for generation of clean electricity from ocean and sea waves. So first of all, why wave energy? We all heard about solar energy, about wind energy, but wave energy is kind of the new kid in the block of renewable. So first of all, 2/3 of the world population are currently living on the coastline. With this type of population distribution, the need for wave energy is undeniable. It is also a very stable source of electricity, which in suitable locations can provide energy 24/7, as opposed to solar, for example, which is widely used in Israel and is an amazing source, but it turns down at night because the sun sets, of course. It has 832 times the kinetic energy of wind, which means we can provide much larger electricity amounts with much smaller devices. And according to the World Energy Council, wave energy can produce twice the amount of electricity that the world produces now. So if wave energy is so great, why didn't we see wave energy everywhere in the world? So the answer is simple. 99% of the competition decided to install these bulky, huge floaters in the middle of the ocean and put all the generators and all the expensive equipment inside these big floaters. What happened is that it was super expensive. What we can see here is a 100 kilowatt installed capacity, which cost in excess of $150 million, which of course will never return the investment. They had low reliability. This is a company called Pelamis that broke down after 3 days of operation because of the high waves in the offshore of 20 meters or even higher. It was very difficult to insure the offshore technologies, and they had negative environmental footprint because they connect to the ocean floor. EcoWave Power is an Israeli company. We decided on a completely different approach. Simple is better. This is our power station, grid-connected power station in Gibraltar. We don't install in the offshore. We only connect to existent man-made structures, such as piers, breakwaters, jetties, and other type of structures. All our expensive equipment is on land, just like a regular power station. And only thing in the water is floaters, and they belong in the water. The company currently has 17 patents for its technology, and this is how the technology operates. The floaters are attaching to existing structures, such as piers, breakwaters, jetties. The floaters are going up and down with the movement of the waves, and they're pushing the hydro cylinder, which transmits biodegradable fluid into land-located accumulators. A pressure is being built, which is used to turn the hydro motor, turning a generator, producing clean electricity into the grid. Now, the advantages of our system is that it is 100% environmentally friendly. We don't create any new presence on the ocean floor. We connect only to existent man-made structures. We're also cost efficient because all our expensive equipment is on land and we don't have to do any works from the seaside using ships and divers and underwater mooring and cables. We're fully insurable by reputable insurance companies. And we're reliable because when the waves are too high for the system to handle, the floaters automatically lift above the water level and they lock in the upward position until the storm passes. Similar to wind turbines, when the wind is too strong, the floaters actually stop, the wind turbines actually stop turning to prevent damage to the turbines. So we started testing in the wave pool, and we started with a very small deployment of a scale of 1 to 100. Continued testing in the port of Jaffa between 2014 till 2020. We had an off-grid pilot because Israel didn't have any legislation to enable us to connect to the grid. We installed our first grid-connected power station in Gibraltar in 2016, and we're currently 2 months away from finishing our second grid-connected power station here in Jaffa port, which is a larger power plant, and will be the first time in the history of Israel that wave energy will officially connect to the grid. This project is supported 50% by the Israeli Energy Ministry and 50% by EDF Renewables IL, which is a subsidiary of the French National Electric Company. And the reason that we're able to connect to the grid is because the Ministry of Energy recognized us as pioneering technology, which motivated the Israeli Energy Authority to set a feed-in tariff for pioneering technologies. So here we can see some of the installation works. As you can see, as opposed to the competitors, we do everything from the land side. As I said, no ships, no divers, no underwater mooring, no cables. Here we can see the working power plant in Gibraltar. On the right side, we can see the container that houses all the generators, all the expensive equipment is far from the water. And the grid connection in our type of installation is very, very short. In Jaffa Port, it's only 170 meters. It can be built in very high density population as opposed to wind farms that are usually being built very far from population and then have to pay a lot of money for the grid connection. So here the grid connection is very simple, and I would address something here that Odi Adyri just said before, is that Israel is struggling a bit to implement a lot of renewable energy because we don't have enough space. And by using wave power for Israel, we can kind of solve this problem because we're not taking any space whatsoever, only breakwaters, piers, and other types of unused structures. So right now, EcoWave Power has the operational power station, grid-connected power station in Gibraltar. In 2 to 3 months, we're finishing the power station, grid-connected power station in Jaffa Port, the EWP EDF1 project. Of course, we will be glad to invite everybody for the grand opening, since really it's the first time in Israel that wave energy will connect to the grid. And what's special in the Jaffa Port project is that we are actually planning to use the same floater sizes, which is bigger than our Gibraltar floaters, in our new agreement that we signed in Portugal. We signed there a 20 megawatt concession agreement, and then it will basically be a very important milestone in decreasing kind of the risks that there are in enlarging the capacity, the installed capacity of the power station. So here we can see some photos from our project in the port of Jaffa. Here is testing together with EDF and the Siemens, is a dry test run of the power station. Here is the grid connection works in Jaffa port, which is very exciting for us. Here we can see actually the power production of the facilities. So the above power matrix is showing us how much energy we can produce in different wave heights and different wave period. So for example, in a wave height of 3 meters that is coming every 6 seconds, we can produce 62 kilowatts over a very small space, which is a big advantage of wave energy. Right now, EcoWave Power has over 300 megawatts in its project pipeline, where the projects on the left side, Gibraltar, Portugal, Mexico, Israel, are advanced projects that are already PPA agreement, concession agreement, or projects that are in construction. And on the right side are projects that are in different development stages. Now, basically, I'm not very objective. I'm a strong believer in wave energy. But I would like to finish by saying that if we would like to have a 100% environmentally friendly world, we definitely need to combine all renewable energy sources together, wind, wave, solar, because all of these sources are happening in different times during the day. So that's really the only way to get, to kind of remove dependence on fossil fuels and get 100% renewable energy friendly. And I would like to finish on kind of a personal note. I know that a lot of our guests are not technical, are just interested in different technologies from Israel, basically, and to explain my passion for wave energy. So basically, I'm Israeli, but I was born in Ukraine in 1986. And 2 weeks after I was born, the Chernobyl nuclear reactor exploded, causing the worst in history nuclear disaster. And I was one of the babies that got hurt from the negative effects of the explosion. I actually had a respiratory arrest and a clinical death. And luckily my mother, who is a nurse, came to my crib on time and gave me a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, which saved my life. So I got a second chance in life, and I really wanted to do something good with it. And I believe that wave energy, which can produce twice the amount of electricity that the world produces now, can be an amazing contribution to the fight against climate change. So I really hope that you will join me in my mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ina. That was, as usual, fascinating, and I am looking forward to come and visit the site when you start to pump electricity to the grid. But I have like a little hard question for you. Can you give me a quick answer? Like, when do you believe your technology will become competitive with solar here in Israel, where we know it's very cheap?
Of course. So from the beginning, when we started to develop our technology, it was very important to us not to be dependent on subsidies, because you know, in the past, solar and wind energy received a lot of subsidies, but now when they fully commercialized, it's not the situation. So that's why we chose also the onshore nearshore approach, which enables us a much cheaper construction and installation of the power station. And when we reach in a size of 20 megawatt of a power station, our capex decreases to 1.2 million euro per megawatt, and our LCOE, levelized cost of energy, decreases to about 4 euro cents per kilowatt hour, which is very much competitive with the prices of wind and solar. So we're in a good position right now, and we're very excited to commercialize and show positive results for wave energy, because we do believe that it can be a great solution for Israel as well.
Thank you, Ina. Thank you for your energy as well. I'm happy to invite our next speaker, Dr. Erwin Tal Gottelmacher, the CEO of Hydrolite, to give us a glimpse of the future on development of high efficiency power to hydrogen and hydrogen to power devices. So a glimpse to the future.
Well, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Yael, for your kind introduction. Thank you for inviting me to present the company and our innovative technology. I'm very honored, and let me share the presentation with you. So my name is Erwin Tal Gottelmacher. I am the CEO of Hydrolite, and I will have the pleasure in the upcoming 10 minutes to describe the company and our innovative technology. What we do at Hydrolite, we focus on the development of novel hydrogen technologies. Hydrogen is perceived to be the fuel of the future, because it's the only fuel who practically complies to the net zero imperative. It's a carbon-free fuel from the cradle to the grave. So this is the reason why a lot of interest, both from the governments and the investors, has been given to the hydrogen technological frontiers. And what I'm showing in this slide over here is taken from the latest McKinsey report from February 2021 on hydrogen insights and the anticipated investments through 2030 on hydrogen technologies. These are large investments, enormous ones, especially lately with the join of the decarbonization race by the current US government. So it's practically the hottest trend, but it's practically building a technology from scratch. And the projected hydrogen investments through 2030 are envisioned to sum up to $300 billion. And these are actually distributed through the three main frontiers of hydrogen technologies: hydrogen production, distribution, and its end-use applications. And here at Hydrolite, we have solutions for both hydrogen production and for its end-use applications. practically, when we talk about hydrogen generation and hydrogen conversion, or the end-use application of hydrogen as a carbon-free fuel, we talk about two main devices. These are the workhorses of the hydrogen economy or the hydrogen ecosystem. The fuel cells, which are practically the generators or the engines that use hydrogen as a fuel and produce electricity by water, only water as a byproduct, so non-polluting, silent, totally silent, and then very environmentally friendly and efficient, of course. And then the second workhorse is the electrolyzer, which is practically a mirror device of the fuel cell, because what it does, it actually produces hydrogen via water splitting using electricity. And with the perceived amount of renewable electricity and its prices being reduced very recently also through the regulations and the subsidizing, practically the green hydrogen being produced by green electricity is going to be the fuel of the future. We believe that our technology is going to help the faster entry of the hydrogen technologies into the market. And practically, we did not invent the fuel cells. We did not invent the electrolyzers. These are devices that have been there in the technological and in the community for decades now. But what did we invent is a novel alkaline exchange membrane technology that actually enables our devices to have the potential to meet the cost target, especially when we talk about mass production, because of the envisioned huge demand in hydrogen and the increase in and the growth in its market. So who we are at a glance. We were spinned off from Elbit Systems in 2016. Elbit Systems is the largest private defense company in Israel and among the top 30 in the world. But the development of the technology goes way back, more than a decade ago, with $45 million that have been invested through the 12 years of the technology development. We are a team of 17 employees. Most of us, I am blessed with 6 PhDs and the rest of the team coming with a strong technological engineering background from multidisciplinary fields, starting from material science and engineering up to nanotechnology and chemical engineering. We are located in Caesarea and are spread through 1,200 square meters of state-of-the-art facilities and scientific laboratories with some pilot line capabilities, partially funded by and supported by the Ministry of Energy, giving us the full capability to develop, assembly, manufacture fuel cell and electrolyzers based on our alkaline exchange membrane technology. We have a very comprehensive IP portfolio comprising 67 patent cases. 50 of those are granted worldwide, and we have more in the pipeline. This comprehensive portfolio covers the whole alkaline exchange membrane domain, starting from the materials and the components up to stack and system level. So what is our technology in a brief description? Our alkaline exchange membrane technology is envisioned to be the next generation of solid state polymer technologies. The incumbent one is the proton exchange membrane PEM technology, which actually was developed 3 decades ago in order to compensate for the traditional alkaline, liquid alkaline technology. With our alkaline exchange membrane approach, we combine practically the benefits of both worlds. So we have a solid state membrane. It's an alkaline membrane, however, and the alkaline environments allows us to benefit from the usage of low-cost materials such as low-cost catalysts, low-cost hardware, low-cost ionomers and membranes. On the other hand, the existence of such a solid state polymer membrane allows us for high efficiency, good dynamic behavior, fast startup, and these are characteristics that the incumbent PEM technology has. So our solutions are direct. We have two vectors. We have two product lines. One is the fuel cell, the alkaline exchange membrane fuel cell, which is matured to this stationary 5 kilowatt system, which is mature to this 5 kilowatt system, and an electrolyzer technology, which has the potential to produce green hydrogen at the cost of $1.22 that approaches the gray hydrogen cost. This is some economic model that we did based on our bill of materials for a 1 megawatt electrolyzer system that can produce 38 tons of hydrogen per year. And the and the benefits of the low cost technology are depicted in the system price, which is $0.52 per kilogram of green hydrogen, summing up to a total cost of 1.22, which is quite comparable to the cost of gray hydrogen production that is done currently.
Yeah. Evan, I would like to shoot a question, okay? It's very, how would I say it, a paradigm shift that you're doing, because all over the world, when you produce hydrogen, what you do is you use a proton exchange ion. And what you're suggesting here is to take an alkaline exchange ion, which is like a mirror vision of proton exchange ion. And I'm worried for you that how would you implement it in a real system? Like how in the future, when all the giants are building a proton exchange ion, how would you fit in?
Well, it's indeed a very good question, but practically it's much more simpler than you think. And we believe that with this technology, actually we can kind of change kind of crash that cost barrier entry to market that the current PEM technology has. What is our invention or the novelty lies within what we call membrane electrode assembly. This is like end-of-stack device, which is only a part, it is the heart of the system, but it is only a part of that system. When we look at this stationary system here, that stack over here is only a small part of this overall system, which is comprised of what we call the balance of plant and all the other electronics and system components. These system components are similar for the PEM technology. So what we come to replace or to give as an alternative is only the heart based on a very low cost and high efficient technology, with all the system components being compatible for and similar for our technology as well.
Okay, thank you, Arvin. So I understand. So what you're saying is that in the future, if your technology do mature to the level, it can replace easily existing fuel cells with your technology and save a lot of money. So thank you very much. We have to move forward with our next presenter. So we are going to the third presentation out of 4 companies, and then Gideon will finalize. So I'm happy to introduce the serial entrepreneur, Doron Tamir, from Luminescent Solar Power. And after he met Professor Rothschild from the Technion, Doron kind of quit all of his other startups to focus solely on improving the energy yield of solar energy. The results have been impressive, and I will let him explain how and why. Welcome, Doron.
Hi, thank you very much, and it's my honor to be here. And actually, in 2008, I started to do PV project. Okay, so more than 12 years, and what I'm doing is PV project, big PV project. So I know the industry very well. And for the last decade, I was partner of EDF Energy Nouvelle, and they was a very good partner. So Ian, if you work with EDF, it's a great partner. and we built together hundreds of megawatts. I was the biggest developer in Israel. But actually 4 years ago, I realized that if you want really a solution for 100% renewable, PV is not the solution. And I like PV, okay? PV can be part of the solution, but not the total solution. So I started a journey to look for a better technology. And actually, 2 years ago, I met a friend of mine that we know each other 30 years, and together we start and establish luminescent as a new technology. And what we are doing actually, we have an innovation heat engine that actually enable us, which is this heat engine is very efficient, it's low cost, but in small scale. It's enable us to actually to be a game changer in the solar industry, but also in the waste heat. So let's start. So actually what we have hundreds of gigawatts of waste heat that released into our environment from modern process, adding to the global warming. And you have to understand that this waste heat, it can be in 500 degrees, it can be even in 1000 degrees. So the meaning is that you can take this heat and produce from it electricity when the fuel is for free. Okay, it just heats it going to the air, so you can use it. But the problem is that the current solution for waste heat are expensive and very complex to deploy. So just in very big project, you have a waste heat energy solution, but most of the potential markets are in the small and the medium ones. And here our engine is come to help us. And actually what we can do is our innovation heat engine is that we can, for the first time, to deploy small and medium project, and they can be doable. Okay, so we can create very low cost electricity for just 1 cent per kilowatt. So this is our first vertical. The second vertical, it's the photovoltaic. Amazing technology, very simple, very mature, but with a very big problem. It's not baseload, which means it's working just 5 hours max, 6 hours a day if you are living in Namibia, and it's not dispatchable, which means that even if you have no sun, if you have, 1 week without sun, 1 day without sun, it's impossible to generate electricity, even if you put all the batteries that you want, okay? So it can't be the solution. It can be the answer for 24/7 of green energy. And this is exactly why I start the journey. I want to find a solution that will be full baseload, full dispatchable, and affordable, okay? So the Minister of Energy, the Israel Minister of Energy, that I'm proud to say that we are going a long way together. They done a calculation that if they want 80% renewable, so, and as you know, Israel have a lot of sunny days. So if you want 80% renewable, we will need a lot of solar panels, a lot of lithium-ion batteries, but also a lot of gas power plants as a backup, okay, for the days without sun. If it's in the winter, if it's 1 day, 2 days, or the total 2 weeks. And the calculation done that in 2050, 40 years from now, the cost, the LCOE, which means the kilowatt per hour cost, will be 8 cents. It's a huge number, okay? But what we can do in a luminescent, it's actually, we can have the same output, the same combination, which means full baseload, full dispatchable, and affordable in 2025. So in 4 years, not in 40 years, and with much better price of 5 cents. And the 5 cents, it's actually the target price of the DOE, the Department of Energy. So you can actually deploy mass scale of green energy, which is baseload, full dispatchable. So how we can do it, okay? How we do this miracle? Actually, we are using a multi-tower concept. The multi-tower concept, it's not new, okay? It's a lot of towers, small tower, just 15 meters high. But the heliostat, it's actually concentrating the sun to the receiver. But this amazing technology, no one deployed it yet. And the answer why? Because every tower needs small heat engine that will be also very efficient and low cost, but it not exist in the market. Okay, so no one can deploy it. So here come again what I showed you before, our heat engine that is low cost, high efficient, and small one. Okay, so now we can deploy the known concept of multi-tower, and this is exactly what we are going to do. So now we have a solution that actually can bring the answer. The reason why I started my journey and actually leave all my startup is to supply 24/7, all year long, green electricity, which again, full baseload, full dispatch, but affordable. And this is a big reason why we started. So this is just the schematics of our engine. And this engine is very unique because I don't know who knows, but all the heat engine in the market are based on gases. But our engine, it's totally different. It's based on hot liquid. And it's totally a different approach, which enable us to get a low cost, high efficiency for small engine because the liquid can do it. Okay, so actually we are a game changer for the waste heat and for the solar market. And just to summarize it, because I've done it very short. So next year we're going to present our heat engine for the first time, and a year after we're going to have with DLR and with Sandia a first pilot of the solar field. So it was great to present our concept. It's more than concept. We are already starting the first experiments, and they're looking very good. And if you have any question, Yael, so please free to ask.
I do have a question, Doron. We're going a long way together. The Chief Scientist Office gave a lot of different grants. And I'm interested to know, like, many people believe that the thermosolar is like a dying technology. And here you are jumping into it with open eyes, probably. Can you explain in one sentence why you are putting all your efforts into thermosolar and not going with the...
Yeah, so it will be short answer. But first of all, we have the heat engine, that the heat engine can do a lot of things. Okay, this is the first thing. But the second thing, you're absolutely right. The CSP, it's a dead technology, okay? But what we are presenting, it's not a regular CSP. It's totally different CSP, okay? Because with our technology, it's very simple to construct, very simple to finance, and most important, it's very affordable, okay? So we can go down for 5 cents. And if I told the DOE, we have a meeting with the DOE 2 weeks ago, and I said, if you can bring us 5 cents per kilowatt hour, full baseload, full dispatchable, we want 150 gigawatt just for the US. That's all.
Thank you. And it is true because we need the extra hours and we need to store energy. And if we can do it efficiency, that would be very good. So everyone, thank you for staying. We're moving for our last company that's presenting. I have to say that after the meeting, after our meeting will end or after our conference will end, we will send you both the presentation and a link to the latest booklet of the Chief Scientist Office, different companies that we invest in, that as our General Director said, there are many, many interesting companies. So now we're moving to the big issue of digitalization of the energy storage, of the energy sector. Okay, digitalization of the energy sector. And I'm happy to introduce Mr. Natan Barak, the CEO of Empress. Empress this time did not get funding from the Ministry of Energy, more funding from the Ministry of Defense. I'll let Nathan explain about it. And it is important for me to emphasize that as opposed to all other companies, Empress is not a startup, but a full-based company characterized by strong innovation in data analysis. So welcome, Mr. Barak.
Thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to start by thanking the Ministry of Energy, Kaarin, Elhar, and Udi, and all the other team, the ambassador, of course. You have an amazing team, and we hope to work with you a lot more. I will start with your permission, although I have only 10 minutes. I would like to start with our DNA, our background. We are the command control system behind in the Iron Dome. The reason why this is relevant is because we are gathering huge amount of information from many sensors, and in less than a second, we have to do all the data analytics and prediction and so on, and to plan how we are going to intercept and where and when and so on and so forth. So we are specialized in real-time data analytics. That's what's happened in the last conflict in Israel. We have done many other things, which I'm not gonna talk about. We won against the biggest company like Lockheed Martin and others in the Great Britain air defense and many other things in the defense. But we have decided to extend our offering to manage, to do vehicle fleet management, a smart agriculture with Netafim, where we are managing hundreds of farms all over the world and so on and so forth. But out of everything, we have decided to focus on the energy market. We are already working with more than 18 tier 1 utilities, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about why we are so excited with the revolution happening in the energy market. In real time, we are managing in every second more than 25 million sensors and the devices all over the world. So the DNA of the company is we are specialized in connectivity and in correlation, orchestration, data analytics, and our platform is automatic. We have decided to move from the defense or to extend our offering to the so-called Internet of Energy. And the reason why we have decided to focus in the energy market, like you all know, there is a major revolution where there are going to be a huge growth in the EV, electrical vehicles, in batteries, and so on and so forth. And rather than having 1 or 2 or 3 generators in every country, we are going to face millions of generator or prosumers, which mean citizens are going to produce energy and to consume energy and so on. And this is not managed by no one up to now. So what we are dealing with, in fact, is we are flattering the curve. Most of you have heard about the duck curve, which means that the consumption, there is a huge difference between the consumption in the energy during the day, and the supply is working in the opposite direction, which means during the daytime, we can use the PVs and so on. And it's end up in the fact that there is a huge arbitrage between the lowest cost of energy during the daytime to the highest price of energy. We are talking about 30x, which means if the cost of energy here might be in the lowest price can be less than 1, in the highest price can be more than 30 times the price in the lowest price. And what we are doing is we are flattening the curve. How do we do that? First of all, whenever we get to any utility or any country, we integrate every SCADA, every device that there is in this energy company. And then we are integrating all the solar panel, electrical vehicles, batteries, and so on and so forth. So the system predicts 24 hours ahead of time how many demand is going to be in each node, in each part of the country. And what we do once we see, and we predict how much energy we are going to have. And what we do is we turn on the water heating in real time. When the cost of LNG is the lowest, we charge the battery when the cost is in the lowest. And then we discharge the battery when the peak start. We stop heating the water. We prevent our customer from doing fast charge to their cars and so on. And by that, we are using a lot more energy when the cost is the lowest and a lot less when the cost is the highest. We have started the POC, just to let you understand what's going on. We have started the POC with one of the leading producer of cars who think that producing cars is boring. They want to manage our EV charging. That means they will offer us not to spend any penny on fuel or charging the batteries. They will charge us the batteries when the cost is the lowest, and we will allow them to use 30% of the battery when the cost is the highest. And just by that arbitrage, they are going to make a lot of money and will never have to pay anymore on electricity. I'm talking about one of the biggest producer. Now, the world is changing dramatically. That means that if 99.5% of the load in California was driven by the utilities, right now only 50% of the energy coming from the utilities, and it's expected to be that less than 50% are going to be driven by the utilities, which means that we are going to have a lot of solar farms, batteries, and so on and so forth, which are not managed. So what we have decided to do is we have built up a platform which is running either on the cloud or on-prem, and a generic platform, very sophisticated one. We have an agreement with Microsoft that they are using our platform, pushing our platform to the market. The same goes with AWS and with leading system integrators that are pushing our products in the energy market, which first of all, the main one is the so-called DERM, Distributed Energy Resource Management System, that balance between demand and supply, volt-var control, which makes sure that the quality of the energy are in the right range and so on and so forth. And our system is already installed in Vector in a full production in California and City Power Park or as well, and many other countries where we do predictive maintenance with the DERMs and so on, in China, in Enel, which is the biggest energy producer worldwide, and so on and so forth. Some of them, it is a POC because it usually starts with a POC because it does affect the concept of operation of those companies, and some of them are in a full production. Not just that we have been chosen by the leading energy producer, but we also was chosen by leading system integrators that have a partnership with us where they are pushing our system to the markets. If I try to summarize, first of all, we are offering and committing to our customer to reduce dramatically the cost of energy and the carbon footprint. We have, I believe, a very clear track record of how to manage big data in real time and activate and operate all those devices and sensors and so on and so forth. We believe that we have the leading edge technology that was chosen by the biggest company, the biggest energy company in the world, and we believe that what we are going to do is we're going to change dramatically the cost of energy. We can save 20% up to 60%, depending on the company, of the total cost of energy. And you are, of course, invited to join us in this journey, try to cause a real impact on the energy market and do it in different ways that it was done for many years.
Thank you, Nathan. It is clear that your product is very critical to the utility system operator, and I'm sure they are not looking to save costs on the brain of the system. And I wonder, why would the electrical giant would choose you instead of the big traditional suppliers for this kind of systems?
Okay, so first of all, it's a good question. First of all, we are coming with a different approach. We are kind of orchestrator for those utilities company, which means we're coming from the defense world where you have to collect all the data, all existing data to try to come up with a better solution. So we are coming with orchestration approach where we are combining the so-called DERMs, balancing demand and supply, with the fleet management, with everything to one platform. One of the problems in every utilities company that they have too many applications that does not correlate with each other. And we are coming using whatever is their legacies. First of all, we are coming with a global optimization rather than optimizing part or trying to solve part of the problem. We have a real-time, very sophisticated data analytics. We have the most flexible platform. We have to deal with that, not just in the defense world, but in all other applications where we are offering our customer to be capable of plug and play any batteries, device, PVs, or whatever. And flexibility is the name of the game, because on a daily basis, there are new batteries, new protocol, new devices that if you're going to wait to those dinosaurs, the big ones, if you're going to wait to the next software version, they're going to be not relevant anymore in any case. So flexibility is the name of the game. And we learned that from dealing in command control system, different type, nationwide command control for many years. And I believe that we are the most flexible platform right now in the market. And that's why we have been chosen by the leading system integrators and tech leaders.
Thank you, Nathan. I have to say it's just perfect timing for all the speakers. We are just on time, really on the second, very impressive. So I'm delighted to present our last speaker for tonight, my friend and colleague, Dr. Gidon Friedman, Acting Chief Scientist at the Ministry of Energy, for closing remarks. Welcome, Gidon.
Hi, good evening for the people in Israel, and good afternoon for the rest of the United States. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I'm very proud actually to be part of this ecosystem of innovation. We pride ourselves in the innovation and the excellence that we are pushing forward. Of course, we rely on the Israeli human capital. We are trying to encourage the human capital in Israel. We have programs to support students within our regular grants and also special fellowships that we offer to students. We have several calls for proposals, as Udi mentioned, in all stages of development, R&D, from academic research through early stage startups, and also pilots and demonstration. Again, we're very proud that some of these have matured into quite successful companies, and today with the green energy tendencies, the market, the financial markets are very positive towards these companies, and we are very happy for them that they are able to raise the capital and make these developments and ideas into reality. In the Ministry of Energy, our department is not only pushing for R&D, we are also working quite hard to implement innovation and novelty into the system, into the Israeli system. And just as an example, our department led the clean transportation revolution from the ministry point of view. We supported charging stations, and I think our actions raised a lot of interest in Israel, and we are seeing now the fruits with more and more electric vehicles coming in. We are working now, and Yael is leading this process on what we call agri-PV, the combined effort to generate both electricity from the sun and also agriculture, also produce. So this is a challenge. We are now have a call for proposals, essentially, that we hope we will see many different technologies, different growings, agricultural growings, that and we will find out the best technologies for that. We can use both. We can use the land of the agriculture sector in Israel to produce more and more renewable solar energy. I would like to use this occasion and as a closure for anybody who is interested, has more question, is interested either to invest in Israel, to find partners in Israel, or just come up with new ideas and implement them in Israel, to contact us. You have my contact and others also, and we will be very happy to talk to you. So thank you very much. Also, thank you all the organizers of this event, which put a lot of effort into making it a reality. And I hope you enjoyed it, and a good evening.
Sorry. Thank you, Gidon, and thank you, everyone. And we're looking forward to see you in the next Innovation Night we will have in probably a few months.
Thank you.
Good night.